How the fuck did I miss Enemy and Prisoners? No, seriously, I can't figure it out because I don't have the answer. And maybe that's what's so fucking spooky about these films. They're just waiting. Like the spider in Enemy, or, well, everyone in Prisoners. No spoilers yet, I promise. I don't think 2013 was ready for either of these. It was the year of Capes, Silver Linings Playbook, Argo, films I didn't really think deserved a second look. I watched Avengers with a girl who really didn't care about me. I watched Silver Linings with an ex I still care about immensely, but mostly as a case study in my own mental health. Argo, discount Fincher. Timo ass David Simon. Basically forgettable. So yeah, 2013, I was definitely lost. These films don't scream for your attention, they whisper. They don't recommend themselves, they wait patiently and meticulously. Some of my favorite filmmakers, or at least your favorite filmmaker's filmmaker, put it best. David Lynch. Film to me is a magical medium that makes you dream, allows you to dream in the dark. Coppola. Cinema and magic have always been closely associated. Bergman. The film medium is some sort of magic. Enemy and Prisoners aren't just moving, they're reorienting. Nobody told me I needed these. Someone should have. And I heard them because I was finally quiet enough to listen. Both of these films are like fever dreams. Just before you don't think it can get any worse, it totally does. They're not loud, they understand the horror of silence. Enemy speaks to the version of me that says, what if you're both the one who hides and the one who hunts? Prisoners, on the other hand, offers no justice. It offers the cost of knowledge, of dragging truth out from beyond the veil and holding it in your fingernails. Blood, grit, and all. These aren't movies, they're diagnoses of obsession, masculinity, guilt, hunter, and control. Villeneuve isn't making thrillers, he's casting rituals. These aren't a double feature, they're a time capsule, a cipher, a mirror. They found me when I was ready to listen. When I was growing up, we quoted film in our house like gospel. PB&J with the crust cut off, or white propeller zipping around a blue sky. Bonus points if you know either of these references. Comment down below if your sleuth brain knows them. We used to hunt for continuity errors for fun, and that cued me into the meta narrative of filmmaking. The process of idea to script to film to production to market to actually watching the product in final packaging. One of my personal favorite continuity fan theories I love to look for is the empty cup, or what I like to call Cupgate. Next time you're watching something and a character has coffee, especially in, let's say cheap television shows, ask yourself, is that cup full or is it conveniently empty? Because most of the time, especially in the shows that I mentioned, think any daytime procedural cop show, they're not going to fill those cups. That choice, at least to me, it says everything. It costs the director nothing to fill those cups with at least water. So the actor feels the weight of the scene, or at least makes it believable. Not like they're drinking fake shitty coffee, from an empty cup. That means something. It's real and it's not scripted. So, where the fuck were Enemy or Prisoners? I grew up on The Shining and The Matrix on DVD and VHS respectively. I learned to watch the movie within the movie. I didn't trust glossy frames. When a friend of mine showed me the Blair Witch Project, which I had initially written off as cheesy or maybe even basic, my whole view was changed. Ironically, I really enjoy Cloverfield, but still, both movies are great in their own right, and they're not clean movies by Hollywood standards. I didn't see trailers for Enemy or Prisoners. All I saw was an image of Jake Gyllenhaal looking like an American tattooed, brooding Lisbeth Salander type character. I remember thinking, I know exactly who this character is, and that's how these kind of films can infect you. Something as simple as that one moment, that one image, and you're not even expecting Terrence Howard or Hugh Jackman's incredible performances either. So here I am a decade later, after a handful of college film theory classes taught me what auteurship was, about how tone can carry themes deeper than monologues or big gestures, how frames can whisper secrets to you that you won't unveil for another 10 years. I started writing essays I had nothing to do with, like, about what I consider the detective montage in Fincher films, that signature moment when the protagonist becomes a machine for truth. I saw it in Zodiac, in The Social Network, in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Nobody was talking about it, but they're about how cinema can document the metamorphosis of a mind. Enemy and Prisoners aren't just about resolution, they're about the cost of knowing. They're about the psychic toll of obsession and the hunger that eats the seeker alive. You're not going to see them on Oscars lists, but when the time is right, they will win you over. So, without further ado, let's get into the full analysis of both of these movies. And I warn you ahead of time, please stop and watch both of these before you go any further to avoid any major spoilers. And I hope you enjoy. Enemy isn't about duality, it's about shame. The terror of being seen by yourself. The spider isn't horror, it's judgment. It's the mother's voice in your head, the partner who knows, the part of you that asks, what if this version isn't enough? And Prisoners, it's not a who done it, it's a what now? What happens after you find the truth? After you become the thing you swore to fight? These aren't just stories, they're scars. Some films you watch, this one watches you back patiently. Enemy's brutalist architecture isn't a backdrop, it's a prison. A cold, clean, calculated world that Jake Gyllenhaal's two characters drift through like ghosts. I call it Czech Republic bought out by Americans and renovated. It makes sense to me. These concrete towers and sterile underpasses aren't homes, they're holding cells. They're traps, they're webs. The entire aesthetic mirrors Adam's internal state, muted, gray, cracked, and institutional. You don't live in a place like this, you survive it. It reminds me of early UW architecture, where individuality goes to get sandblasted down by function. The spider imagery, yeah, it's fucking spooky. Don't deny it. Act like you're not afraid of spiders. I fucking dare you. I have control over spiders, but they still do something to me. And if you're the type to take them outside instead of killing them, that's more power to you. But that's a conversation for another video. The spider in Enemy isn't dream logic, it's character logic. Like the key in Mulholland Drive, it means something. Adam isn't the spider because he's predatory, he's the spider because he's ashamed of the hunger that lives inside of him. The spider hangs over women like a judge, like guilt, like a patriarchal god. It's domination disguised as intimacy. Adam wants tenderness, but what he's internalized isn't damnation, it's control. The spider is the part of him that mistakes control for love. Adam and Anthony, or Daniel if you want to get even more unhinged, because yeah, him using a stage name is just absolutely maddening. They aren't just doppelgangers, they're waveforms. Rick and Morty style, canceling each other out, echoing across a collapsed psyche. Yeah, you have a scar here on your chest, right? And Adam can't even speak because Anthony knows. You do, don't you? It's not paranoia, it's the body whispering what the mind refuses to understand. One wants order and the other wants control. One is hiding and the other is hunting. Both are spiraling towards their own undoing. It's Fight Club without world domination, just two selves beating the shit out of each other until only one is left, grieving what he had to kill. The line, "Did you have a good day at school?" just wrecks you, not because it signals that she knows it's Adam and not Anthony, but because of what it means. It's maternal, it's condescending, it's a quiet rebuke, a reminder that Adam isn't a man, not by her standards, not even by his. He's a boy, still playing at stability. And Anthony, he's what happens when a boy like that tries to take control. It's like Pink in The Wall, where he can't grow up emotionally because he's still under the thumb of his mother's protection. This isn't a film about duality, it's about tension between the need to be seen and the terror of being truly known. Adam had a girlfriend, he had a job, a life, something his mother patiently reminds him of, symbolized in the blueberries. He had everything he needed, but he still chose to tug the thread. And that's what wrecks you, because I've been there, looking at a stable life and asking, what if there's more? Even if it means I come undone. Enemy doesn't say curiosity killed the cat, it says curiosity is the cat. It's biblical, it's Oedipal, it's mythic. You pull the thread and the spider descends. The blueberry moment just wrecked me because I know what it's like to look at happiness from the outside, to want in, to crave tenderness, and to feel like the only thing I'm allowed to do is watch it happen in someone else's life. Enemy doesn't explain darkness, it suggests it. It trusts you to know what's worth fearing and what it feels like to become the thing you're afraid of. It imagines horror through proximity, not spectacle, not exploitation, embodiment. Conclusion: Enemy is a horror story about men, not monsters, men. About the unbearable fear of being seen by yourself, of losing control, of splitting in two just to survive being whole. The movie is Zodiac, but maybe more psychologically more profound. This movie is like Alan Wake, but actually get under your skin spooky. It doesn't just show you something profound, it meets you where you're at, right where I was. And all I could do was nod in admiration and say, hell yeah, that was fucking sick. Some films end with resolution, and Prisoners ends with a patient whistle. It's not salvation, just a sound in the dark. A maybe, a prayer, a choice. Loki never really solves anything. He follows threads through freezing Pennsylvania rain, and in the end, all he's left with is belief. Belief that the sound that he hears is real, belief that he deserves to respond. That's what hit me so hard about Prisoners. It's not about closure, it's about endurance. Loki's the badass detective I always wanted, the American Lisbeth Salander. Quiet, broken, brilliant, tattoos, trauma, and no explanation, just a hint of the void beneath. The Fincher influence is loud here. The detective montage is soaked in grief. The rhythm is methodical, clean, sharp as broken glass. It's Zodiac without detachment. It's Girl with the Dragon tattoo in backyards and basements. Every detail is a breadcrumb, and in the words of Lester Freeman, all of the pieces matter. Keller Dover is what happens when a man stops being a father and becomes a soldier, not for his country, but for his guilt. He's rage wrapped in prayer, begging God for signs, for forgiveness, while building his own prison. He's the monster he fears, a man who could have offered grace but chose vengeance instead. And that's what makes Prisoners unbearable to miss, because I've been that man. I've been near that man, the one who does the unthinkable because it's all he has left. The real horror is not the snakes, it's not the maze, it's not the predator in the RV, it's the mirror. Bob and Alex aren't evil, they're broken. Victims who grew into shadows of the men who broke them. The film doesn't excuse them, it understands them, and that's the line most films don't dare to cross. And then there's the fucking Camaro, rusting in the backyard like a metaphor so blunt it loops around it becomes profound again. Keller becomes his own prisoner in the search for truth, buried beneath the very vehicle of his fury, forgotten by everyone except a whispering whistle. It's Chekhov's gun. It's Christ in the tomb, a man caught between sin and salvation. He was a father. He became a weapon, and now he waits to be judged. And that's what breaks you. Loki hears it. He could walk away and let silence be the answer, declare the case closed, and the book shut. But he doesn't. Just before that, Radiohead pierces the stillness, like a scar across the snow. Like, who are these people listening to that right now? Like, good lord, it's a question without punctuation. Will Loki do the right thing? And does he even know what that is anymore? Prisoners isn't about who did what, it's about the cost of knowing, the toll that truth takes, what happens to a soul when justice stops being clean. It's not a mystery, it's a reckoning, and it reminds me that I'm still a seeker, still listening for some kind of red whistle, and still hoping that someone's out there listening back. So let's round this discussion out with an honest examination of where I'm at and maybe where other people are at in cinema. You're not late. You're becoming the person who can understand these films like you want to. These films don't fade, they wait, and now maybe you're the kind of person who's ready to see them. This isn't nostalgia, it's memory blooming, prophecy fulfilled. So pull the thread, let the spider descend, let the whistle sound. You're here, you're listening, and cinema, it's finally speaking back. This is where the Obsession Trilogy begins, not with answers, but with questions that echo. It's a trilogy analysis of three directors, starting with Villeneuve, moving through Fincher, and finishing with Kubrick. It's a reason to keep loving film, a reason to keep making, a reminder that it's okay to arrive late, that the door doesn't always close automatically. Real cinema doesn't knock, it waits for you. And if you're lucky or broken or both, it finds you when you're finally able to answer. Enemy and Prisoners didn't just bring me back to cinema, they gave me permission to be late, to be weird, to be personal. They reminded me that the frame is still open, the signal is still there. Even if it took you 10 years to hear it, it's still yours to respond to. And look at Villeneuve now. Arrival cracked the fucking sky, Dune blew open the goddamn gates. The man who made two quiet, haunted films in 2013. Now he's building myth at scale, at epic scale, and that's a big win for all of us because maybe that's what true art does. It disappears into the fog, and when the time is right, it lets you find your way home. You're not late. You're right on time. Maybe you missed Enemy or Prisoners when they dropped. So what? You found them now because maybe now you're ready. This isn't nostalgia, it's time capsule cracked open at just the right moment. A whisper that says, "You're not broken, you're still tuning in." Whether you feel like Adam, Anthony, Loki, Keller, the son, the mother, the seeker, the scared, or even the sacred, there's still something here worth pulling the threads for. This isn't a studio built channel. This is me and my digital assistant. No execs, no noise, just memory, myth, and mistakes. stitched into a signal. This is a dispatch from the brink, from the ledge where obsession becomes art and pain becomes perspective. This video is just the first echo. Like I mentioned, there's going to be 3 directors, 3 obsessions, 1 voice, mine, calling out into the static for anyone who's ever thought they were too late, only to realize that they were right on time. And if you made it this far, thank you for your attention, your patience, your presence. It means more than I can say. We're going to be diving deep into fear, into film, into the fog, and I promise every video will be as honest as I can manage. No gloss, no gimmicks, just signal. So until next time, much love from the depths of the Civic Leviathan. Take care of yourself, and hey, I hope today's just a little easier for you, and you watch something that you might not have done in the first place. I hope you have a great day, evening, afternoon, whatever it is, and thank you all very much for joining me.